Noted. Let's turn to Data Protection Board. That is something that, that DPDP rules talked about in terms of an immediate implementation. Where are we on that?
I mean, Data Protection Board, we have started the process of, putting in place the way to identify members and call for their nomination to put them in. The positions and posts which the board would need, that we are working on right now because we have to get that approved. And we've already prepared the software and so on for a completely online office for the Data Protection Board. So work is going on.
Just to clarify, this work is not to do with the selection panel which will decide, but the Data Protection Board itself.
There's a process of selecting, so that process has to be initiated, and that's a broader process in government.
So the chairperson of Data Protection Board and the members.
Chairperson and members, the process of going through that.
By when can we expect the Data Protection Board to be up and running?
In the coming months.
One of the things that government said shortly thereafter is that they could look at, and they would look at, in fact, not could, but would look at shortening the compliance timelines for big tech, because the big tech companies are already complying with some of those standards globally. Where are you on those deliberations?
We are talking to the companies, and we also need to look at readiness of people down the stream, and it's the readiness of many businesses and others, because ultimately anyone who collects personal data online, even a small shop which you go in there, they ask you for your mobile number, they collect some personal data, they keep it for record, keep it for doing something relating to loyalty, etc. They're all going to be governed by this Act. So I think in addition, of course, big tech, as you already pointed out, voluntarily they've been doing a lot of these things already. So for them, the compliance is not going to be as difficult, and they'd probably come on stream even earlier. And if they can actually have mechanisms in place which are on par with this, we will encourage them to do it.
But would you mandate it by delinking them from other companies in terms of compliance?
If there is a necessity, we can. And as you know, the Act itself provides for categorization of significant data fiduciaries. And that provision can also be used if there is a requirement. We can. But we'll see.
So I'm just trying to understand this. Therefore, are you looking at compressing the timelines at all for big tech, looking at them with a different lens because they're already complying with the likes of GDPR?
The minister has already made this statement saying that
they would look at.
We are open to this. We are talking to people. We are assessing readiness. And see, the point is that at no point, and I think this is again something that the minister has repeatedly said, that anything that we do, we don't want it to be disruptive, right? We have to do with the flow. Originally, we had intended 24 months, but because of the way that, we took a little longer time in terms of the consultation, which in my view was a good thing to do because it also helped us build awareness. Because very often when we went into these extensive consultation meetings, that's the first time many company executives and others even had read the provisions of it. So many of those consultative sessions were less about them telling us, what they needed, as opposed to them raising doubts because they had not been able to read the Act and the rules in conjunction and understand the various provisions clearly. So many of them ended up being actually clarificatory sessions. A significant amount of time was spent on clarification. So since we spent that time and we sort of did that, there are two consequences. One, that industry has had time to prepare, and they've understood this better, which is why the minister also pointed out that maybe they'll be ready earlier. And because we had spent that time, we also cut back on the original intended 24 months to 18 months.
Okay, and is a big tech resisting any sort of compression or shortening of compliance timelines?
I don't think so. I don't think they have specifically indicated that they are uncomfortable with any particular aspect.
So are you going to tell them that you have to be ready with it earlier, mandated?
We have asked them to tell us when they will be ready and look at specific aspects. Because please do understand, it's complex. This morning I was speaking to a group of chartered accountants. It was one of the pre-events for the India AI Summit. And then that is when you realize, because chartered accountants ultimately look at compliance issues within companies. So, and we are then talking about people who have to comply. Even to identify the points at which personal data is collected, and then to figure out who are the processors of this data, and covering the fiduciary's responsibilities through appropriate changes in contracts with the processors. All this takes a long time. So, which is why, it's one thing to say big tech and what we do with them, but it's another thing altogether for a number of other businesses who are also part of this entire compliance requirement. See, big tech is only part of the story, right? They are the ones where, okay, you're opening an account and you're doing something internally there, then that is where they have your personal information and they do something with it. So that's one factor. And like you said, many of those requirements, they will actually find it easier to comply because they've already done it, thanks to the work they've done in other jurisdictions, thanks to their understanding of what's happening here. But it's a large number of other small businesses that we need to sort of support to make sure that they come on board quickly.